Welcome to this yoga practice to help you sit on your heels for Thunderbolt Pose, just like this. Tricky pose for many of us. I recommend keeping a pillow or rolled up blanket nearby for this one. And we're going to get started on our backs today, settling the entire spine into the mat. Tuning into your deep breaths in and out through the nose. And then extending both legs up towards the ceiling, we'll start kicking out the legs. So just warming up all of those troublesome areas first. The knees, the ankles. No right or wrong way to do this. Just getting some blood flow into the legs and quadriceps. And then extend both legs up towards the ceiling. Take some little ankle circles in one direction. Still warming up here. And then reversing those circles. Notice any little sticking points or perhaps pops or crackles. And then we'll pull the right knee in towards the chest, and the left foot could be planted to the mat or extended long away from you. Notice any comfort or discomfort with that deep bend in the right knee. And then we'll slide the hands just a little bit further down the shin and start pressing the shin away from you. So as if you wanted to straighten that right leg, but the hands are in the way. We'll try that a few times. So you can exhale, try to break free of your hands with that shin. And then let the knee come in towards the chest again. And just a few times at your pace, really working against yourself here, strengthening through the knee. And one more time. And let that knee come back in towards the heart. And then we'll transfer the hands behind the knee now. We'll start taking some circles with that lower leg. So keeping the thigh as still as possible. Just making the knee work as we trace those circles with the shin and ankle and foot. Going in one direction. And then reversing. And again observing how this feels. Whether the knee is maybe protesting any of these different angles. And then pull the left knee in as well, and we'll simply switch sides. So right foot to the floor or right leg extends as the left knee comes in towards the heart. And perhaps this side feels a little bit different already from the first. Just breathing deeply. And then bring the hands a little further down the shin, and we'll try that break free and release motion again. So really thinking about pressing the shin far away from you, strengthening the knee, and then letting the knee come in just a little bit closer. A few times. The last one here. Bringing the knee back in, we'll transfer hands behind the knee and again tracing those circles with the lower leg. The thigh and hip are really still here, just the lower leg that's working and moving. And changing direction with that circle. Sitting on our heels can be a frustrating pose, particularly because it's considered so basic and yet no one ever really tells you what to do to work on it. So good for you turning up today. Let's pull both knees in towards the chest now and just start pulling them apart and bringing them back together, warming up a little bit through the hips. Also sometimes a troublesome area for Thunderbolt Pose. And now take some circles with the knees, getting into every little nook and cranny of that hip joint. And switching the direction of your circle once more. Massaging the lower back as well while we're at it. Another area that can get involved in any difficulties in sitting on our heels. Now keep the knees together and really point the feet. Point them as much as you possibly can. Rest the arms down by your side. Just notice how that feels. We're basically duplicating the posture here, but on our backs. And then you can shake out the legs, shake out the ankles and knees. And eventually we'll lift our way up onto our forearms. We'll tuck the right foot back towards the right hip as you extend the left leg in front of you. So depending on your comfort level here, you might want to lean the upper body over towards the side. You might prefer to prop up on your hands behind you, or simply to stay on those forearms. This will look a little bit different on every body. Once you've found what feels like a good stretch for today, start to squeeze and release just your right glutes. So squeezing to lift a few inches off the mat, and then letting it go. And you can exhale on the squeeze, inhale as you release. And then we'll let that go. You can help that right foot out from underneath you, and we'll place the top of the right foot to the mat here as you hug the knee in towards the chest. Now this can be really intense if the ankles are the problem area. So if it's too much, you can also place the ball of the foot to the mat and really just focus on straightening through the ankle wherever you are. Breathing deeply. And then let that go. Shake out the legs in front of you. Very nicely done. And we'll do the same on the other side. So tucking that left foot over towards your left hip. You might like to release down onto your right forearm. Stay up on fingertips or flat palms. Or lower both forearms down, looking for a stretch in that left quadriceps. And directing breath to wherever you feel sensation as you start with those squeeze and release of the left glutes now. Right leg stays really relaxed, just making the glute work in rhythm with your breath. Really good. Now let's place the top of the left foot, or perhaps the ball of the left foot, to the mat. Hugging that knee in towards the shoulders, straightening up through the spine. Whatever the foot is doing, just look to really lengthen through the front of the ankle. And if this is a really difficult posture for you, then that is also an indication that it's a good one to come back to. Holding a little bit longer each time. Beautiful. You can swing the legs around to one side. We'll place our cushion now underneath the tops of the feet as we come to hands and knees. And here you can sit back towards your heels, playing around with how close you bring your hands to the knees, maybe resting on top of them, maybe further out in front in more of an all fours position. And then let's try placing the cushion between the heels and the seat. And same thing, just observe what happens if you bring a little bit more weight into the legs by shifting the hands back, or maybe even resting them on the thighs. So this is just a good indication of where our troublesome areas are, whether it's the ankles or the knees that are causing us issues. And then we'll come to hands and knees and start kicking yourself in the booty with one leg and then the other, bringing the heel towards the glutes. Upper body stays really still here. And just a little strengthening work through those knees once more, pointing the toes. And you can release that. Maybe try both feet at the same time now, or if that's too much, just keep alternating. See how close you can get here. Have a little fun with it. And then let's tuck the toes under. We'll stay on hands and knees. Start sitting yourself back and then lifting back up. And then untuck the feet, sit yourself back and lift back up. So we'll repeat that a few more times. So sitting back with the toes tucked under, lifting up, and then sitting back with the tops of the feet on the mat. And as you keep going at your own pace with your breath, notice if perhaps each time you sit yourself back, you can come just that little bit further. Now you're welcome to continue that motion, or you can bring the hands a little bit closer to the knees, maybe even prop up on fingertips, and keep going from here. So tucking the toes under as you sit back, and then tops of the feet as you sit back. We're not looking for pain, we're not chasing sensation, but we are looking to challenge ourselves a little bit, to demonstrate to the body that it can do more than it thinks it can. It can perhaps go further in these unfamiliar postures. And then your choice if you'd like to keep that motion going, or perhaps experiment with sitting back towards the heels. A pillow can come underneath the seat with the hands out in front of you, or the pillow could go underneath the tops of the feet if it feels like the ankles may be perhaps the limiting factor. You choose how much weight goes into the body. You choose where you stay for today. This is a great practice to come back to on the regular and just see how things change. Maybe one day that pillow can take a little break. So wherever you are, just appreciate what your body is able to do. Appreciate the fact that you have turned up and spent some time on yourself today. That is always worth celebrating. And as we bring the hands to prayer in front of the chest, I thank you so much for joining me. I would also really recommend that you check out my free 3-day challenge for lower back pain, often a limiting factor in poses just like this one, and you can find that by clicking the first link below this video. Thank you again and have a beautiful day.